a candidate for Jackson City Council, Ward 4, Connor Wood. Hey, Connor.
Hi, Bart. Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
First time, long time. I'm starstruck.
Well, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here today. Last time I saw you, you were walking around downtown trying to, I think, speed along the process of having your firstborn arrive. Did it work?
That's right. Yeah. Josephine joined us on July 22nd. It was a long labor, but everyone's doing great. And oh, they got the pictures on the screen now.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, beautiful baby. She's got her 2-month checkup today, so growing like a weed.
Awesome. So there she is with her mom and your wife, Kelsey Heck, who many people will remember was a council person on the city council in Jackson.
That's right.
So this would be, we have had this happen in the history of city of Jackson. Is her involvement, is Kelsey's involvement as a city council person any spur for you to be running for this office?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think, it was awesome to watch her get these experiences of getting to serve the neighborhoods, getting to, build these relationships across the community, and getting this experience on things that many people might find boring, like brownfield redevelopment authorities, but are really such an impactful way to serve. And, that's part of the reason that I wanted to run, is kind of seeing it from the inside.
What would you say is the city's biggest problem?
The biggest problem that we have is that our population peaked in the 1920s, and we've been kind of on a decline ever since. No one's been able to solve that. I don't think we're probably going to get back to 55,000 people inside the city limits, but that's the problem that's at the root of all of our other problems, like our roads, our water rates, all that infrastructure stuff is because 3 of us are paying for 5 people's worth of infrastructure. So I think the solution to that is, one, we've got to have a long-term plan that accepts reality, that we have had this population decline and that we do need, to take it seriously.
So I think this community is dealing with the same thing everyone's dealing with. There's not enough housing. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to imagine that we had twice as many people living in the city limits decades ago. Where did they all live? I mean, where would they all live now? How would you grow population when there's not enough places to live?
We need to build more housing. I think some of that you're seeing the city with this constructing single family homes, which is great. But we also have a very bimodal population distribution, which is a complicated way of saying that we've got a lot of seniors and we've got a lot of very young people and children. And so the same type of housing isn't going to work for everybody. I think we've got to legalize more housing options. We've got to have more duplexes. We've got to have more, 5/1 apartments. We got to legalize more housing options in different parts of the city. Let the market decide what's going to be the best way for people to move here and have those options. Because there's going to be people who we want to attract who do not have. They may not be in the market for a 1,500 square foot home. They might be wanting something that's closer to a studio apartment or something. So we've got to expand our supply so that we can meet the demand that people have. And I think that this kind of urban environment that we have with a strong downtown, I think we got to grow that out into the neighborhoods, of course, but I think we are starting to attract a lot of the kinds of people that we need to move here to grow the population.
Well, it seems like we're in position to be the bedroom for people that might be going to Marshall to work at the battery plant, mm-hmm. or Ann Arbor, people being priced out of housing. Plus, people will live right here now. They can't find a place to live. Do you think having 50% of the housing stock in the city be owner-occupied is a problem? That half the housing is for rent?
I think the most important thing is that everybody who wants to live here have a chance to live here, be that renters or owners. I think that we've got to have robust protections for our tenants who live here. But we do know also that high turnover communities, high turnover neighborhoods, sometimes people do not take the ownership or the landlords do not do the right thing to inculcate that kind of culture and treat their properties well. So I think we do have to increase our home ownership rates. Again, I think part of the way to do that is to expand those opportunities. There are condo options for people downtown, not as much outside of there, but whatever we can do to grow the population is good. Hopefully people who will stay and not just stay in an apartment for 6 months, but will stay over the long term. And I think part of that is making sure that we've got quality housing that attracts those people and make them want to stay.
The city has some legacy issues to deal with, primarily the water and sewer infrastructure. We have to replace lead service lines and we have to upgrade the water plant, and it looks like water fees in tax increases are being discussed as the plan for that. How does the city make those improvements and pay for them?
Well, that's a good question. I think that the state in creating an unfunded mandate requiring us to replace all the lead service lines but not giving us any money to pay for it certainly isn't helpful. I think one of the things that people may not realize is that our water and sewer plants are currently operating at less than half capacity. So we've got all this capacity to process this water, but we're not using it, right? And so something that I think we should at least explore and start having conversations about is partnering with our neighboring townships to see, can we share the cost of this water treatment rate? As Spring Arbor, Summit are growing, can we share the load on this kind of stuff and make sure that our costs are not out of control for everybody? The water rate increases are an unfortunate reality. I think that, again, that comes back to the shrinking population, but we've got to find a way to make it so that it's not 12% or something ridiculous like that. If we can keep it at or very close to the rate of inflation, obviously we prefer to keep it flat, but we got to make sure that people are getting clean water and decent sewage treatments. That's number one, is that kind of public safety concern.
And as far as public safety, in terms of crime, what are your thoughts about the city's current strategy with group violence intervention?
It's a great question. It's only been going for about a year, so I think we're early in the process, but we're starting to see some success. Shootings are down, crime generally is down according to the JPD's police reports. What we've seen in other communities that have this group violence intervention modality of working with crime, we do see it working, and that's in places incredibly diverse in size, demographics, median income, parts of the country. We know that it works, and I think we've got to give it time to. And I think that we got to continue to trust our police department to implement that program.
Is more police part of the answer?
I think over the long term, we got to get back to kind of a beat cop situation where we have enough police that can actually walk the beat in the neighborhoods and have those long-term relationships. Right now, I don't think that we probably have the money to do that, but that has got to be part of the long-term solution.
Connor, what do you think the city's greatest asset is, and what are your thoughts on protecting that?
I think our greatest asset right now is that while housing prices are up, especially since COVID, we are still so much more affordable than almost any community in any direction, right? Mm-hmm. And so that makes us, like you were mentioning, like a great bedroom community for places like commuters into the Ann Arbor area, where you're lucky to get a house for $400,000 over there, which is crazy to me. And even Lansing. So I think that affordability, combined with the fact that even though we only have a population of about 32,000, we do have this downtown for a city about twice our size, right? Because our county as a whole has not had that population shrink. People are just moving into the townships. So the combination of affordable housing, a strong urban core, and the opportunity to continue to develop out into the neighborhoods, I think makes us a good target for investment.
Yeah, we've had a lot of improvements in the downtown, and those outside downtown improvements are saying, well, when's our turn?
Yep, exactly. And that's something that I hear a lot as I've knocked like 2 full passes of every neighborhood in the 4th Ward. We've got to get out of just downtown. I think we absolutely had to do all this work downtown, and we've got to keep that going. But there are places like, Wisner, West Ave Commercial Corridor, Cooper Street, that kind of part where Lansing and Clinton split off by Calvary Methodist Church. Those neighborhoods are really prime for those kinds of small neighborhood commercial centers that we can actually allow to benefit the local neighborhood and have that kind of walkable shopping, and also have these small businesses succeed without necessarily having the high costs that we have with associating a business downtown.
So we have, with redistricting, new boundaries for this, the 4th Ward. What's geographically the area you hope to serve? So basically from Brown Street and Michigan Ave over to West, up to Ganson, over to Cooper, and up to the city limits again. Okay. So Frosty Boys across the street from my district, which is a huge problem for me, but we do have the parlor. But yeah, basically that kind of northwest corner of Jackson, which hasn't really had its own representation for a long time. And currently this ward is represented by Laura Schletti, right? Mm-hmm. Who's been, with redistricting, she now doesn't live in the ward.
Yep.
So she's So her term really will expire with whoever gets elected in November.
Yep, as it was originally scheduled to, yeah.
The council has dealt with, on numerous occasions, the issue of homelessness. Is homelessness a problem in the city of Jackson? And if so, what are the I guess, strategies that you see to remedy that?
Yeah, homelessness is absolutely a problem. It's a problem for the whole city, and it's especially a problem for those who are experiencing that homelessness. We know that Works with Homelessness is partnering with nonprofits to get people who are like mentally ill or have a substance abuse problem the resources they need. We also know that a housing first model is the most sustainable way to get people out of a homeless situation. And we know that making sure that housing is more affordable can help prevent people from falling down on their luck and getting out. But I think the solution is not pretending that homelessness doesn't exist, and it's not treating them like they're not human beings. I think it's treating people who are experiencing homelessness with the same dignity that you and I would want ourselves or a family member to receive.
So we have had apparently homeless people living under bridges or on the sidewalk. What kinds of immediate things can be done to help those people?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert, but I think that continuing what the city's doing and partnering with places like the Interfaith Shelter to make sure that we get those people, day in and day out help. But we also have to find a pipeline partnering with our other social service organizations and places like the United Way, which I'm proud to be on the board of, making sure that we get people long-term support because, getting through a single day doesn't necessarily get you on the path for the rest of your life, and that's what we've got to be focused on.
A couple weeks ago, the governor announced she was bailing out some 200 municipalities in the state of Michigan with unfunded pension liabilities. Jackson was not one of those cities. Are there opportunities that the city has for funding, grant, partnerships with the state that you would approach or solicit for the community?
I think that's something that we definitely have to look into. I don't know what those are, but I think any partnership that we have with the state to help with these pensions is great because that allows us to take the enormous pension liability that is a huge chunk of everyone's tax bill and ideally reduce that over time and hopefully put that toward things like the roads and utility work that we need to get done.
All right, we found out that you are a new dad. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit more about you, what you do for work, what kinds of things you're doing outside of work, and your community involvement.
Sure. So I work at the Michigan AFL-CIO, which is a nonprofit focused on workers' rights and getting people into family-sustaining career opportunities, particularly for people who do not have a college degree. So I'm really proud of that work. And then locally, I'm happy to be chair of the Planning Commission, so I think a lot about zoning and land use and that kind of stuff. I sit on the Environmental Commission. As I mentioned, I'm the board secretary for our local United Way, which just went through a major merger and is now the United Ways of South Central Michigan. Mm-hmm. So, donate if you can to that wonderful organization. And I'm also a dues-paying member of our local NAACP, so I'll hopefully be at the dinner this weekend. And People for the Parks and Trails of Michigan, which actually just had a cleanup event up at Lions Park in the 4th Ward. And that was great to see people with that.
The council seats and the mayor's seats are all nonpartisan, mm-hmm. But do you have a candidate that you support for any of the other council seats or for the mayor?
I'm focused on my own race right now. I've got good relationships with people who are on the ballot across the city, but I'm really focused on making sure that I get elected and can serve. And my hope is that whoever I serve with will want to partner with me on stuff, so I'm not taking a public position because I want to make sure that I can work with whoever wins.
All right. Well, good luck, and thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much, Bart.
All right, and good luck to Josephine in their 2-month baby visit.
Thank you. Hoping for more growth.
All right. Candidate for Jackson City Council, 4th Ward, Connor Wood.